So it's going to come up. Might as well get it out there now. Let's talk minimum wage. I am a fan of a resuscitated Connecticut, and that cannot happen when the government insists on regulating the crap out of employers. Employers and employees come to their own arrangements very fairly without the government stepping in. In the absence, or let's say in the presence of government, you have terrible dislocations. You want a minimum wage, it means you want to see young black people fired. Not just black people, some young white people, some older people who are getting back into the job market for the first time. They need a 10, 11, 12.50 an hour wage. If you are going to force employers to pay everyone, irrespective of skill, irrespective of productivity, irrespective of their diligence, at $15 or more, and remember it costs more once you have all these extras that you have to pay for every laborer that you employ, you cannot keep the lower wage person for whom an extra $5, $6 an hour is not nearly as important as the job itself. The opportunity for a kid getting out of college, or even more so, getting out of high school and having for the first time responsibility in a job. Get up on time. Show up on time. Responsibility to your peers, responsibility to customers, responsibility to your bosses. The opportunity to build a resume, build cred to be able to earn a lot more without the government's help. That's what you lose. As soon as it's a $15 an hour across the board mandated wage, guess what? Any one of your relatives right now happily working at $12.50 an hour gets fired. Because employers can't do it all. There's a limited amount that they can spend. They can't just raise prices to make up for it. Some can. And that's the goodness of a free market. Some can attract more people, better people perhaps, because they can make that calculation. Right now, it tends to be very big businesses. Walmart loves a minimum wage. Why? Because it knows that the smaller mom and pop shops cannot compete as well, and Walmart then gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Ladies and gentlemen, the minimum wage has a racist effect. It was imposed with a lot of race-based dislike. This was back in the Jim Crow South, where many minimum wage proposals were met with, this will get rid of blacks in the employment area. It'll help white guys. Why? Because at the time, a lot of black Americans were willing to work hard and get paid less. But when government now says, gotta have a higher wage. Well, if you're going to pay more no matter what, you hired the white guy that you tended to like better because you couldn't save enough money. That was racist in intent. Let me give you the effect even now. It's a racist effect because a lot more young black Americans really need that first job or that job to get back in after being out of the labor force for a while. They need it more. They're willing to work for less for the huge opportunity of climbing up the ladder, a ladder that these politicians want to just rip out the early rungs. This is not theory. This is practice. Look at Seattle. 4 years ago, adopts a minimum $15 an hour wage to protect restaurant workers. Guess what? In robust, good economy Seattle, okay, the rest of Washington State didn't have this. Restaurant businesses did great. In Seattle, restaurants closed. Many restaurants automated instead of having humans to take orders. They went with kiosks. Bye-bye jobs for humans. 700 of them lost in the first year. Another 450 lost in the first 6 months of the next year. This is imposition that hurts people. And how do you know what wage is fair? You don't. It's a matter of government getting out so that employer and employee can come to a fair agreement. Now, I believe in private aid to employees who might not know the opportunities, who might not know their own bargaining power. Their skills might be more in demand than they think. So bigger education, I'm all in favor of it. Government fiat, I am not. The minimum wage, there shouldn't be one. And here's why it will still result in high earnings. The most successful economies in Asia, up until recently, Hong Kong and Singapore, had no minimum wage. Currently, most successful economy in Europe, Switzerland, no minimum wage, and their average hourly earnings are highest in the world. It's over $26 an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, when politicians demand a minimum wage, please recognize they are demanding that some people, those unfortunate enough to be on the ladder now, will get fired. I hope that's not your child or your grandchild. I hope you'll step up before that chance even happens. The fairest result is when private employer and private employee get together and government stays out. I'm Mark Greenstein. Thanks for listening.